What is going on, guys? Welcome to Gregulous TV. This is a review for the Kyocera Dura Sport 5G. It does have 5G ultra wideband for Verizon, so you can get those ultra fast speeds on 5G with this phone. And ultimately, it retails for about $580, so pretty expensive for a phone. When I break it down, I think you'll be kind of surprised by how expensive it is. You can get and you're going to probably hear this a couple times in this video, a Pixel 6 for $599, only $20 more. Ultimately, though, this phone is going to give you a lot, and we'll go through all that. But first, let's talk about what comes inside of the box. So inside the box, what you're going to get is you get some pamphlets that are going to walk you through like quick reference guides, stuff you would normally expect on here. You also get USB-C charging cable, as well as something you don't get on many other phones these days, and that is a fast charging brick, a big one at that. So very, very nice to see this charging brick in the phone. I love that. This phone, also, if you don't want to, you don't have to pay $580 for it if you don't want to. You could get a deal with it through Verizon, or you can pay monthly through it. Depends on your financial situation. It does come with 64 gigs of storage. And before we dive too much into this, let's just talk about some of these specs overall. For this phone, it has a Snapdragon 480 processor, so it's kind of like a mid-tier processor. You do, like I said, get 64 gigs of RAM of storage, but there's also a micro SD card slot on the side here. All you do is just peel it open, and you can peel it right outside with your hand, which is always beautiful. I love when they have that option to have that. It also comes with 4 gigs of RAM. I think I said that already. You can put up to a 1 terabyte storage of micro SD card expansion on there, which is fantastic. It does have a 6.1 inch Full HD plus display running at 60 hertz. So, and Gorilla Glass 6 on there. So it's not going to be like the ultimate best display ever. So just keep that in mind. Beyond that, it's just kind of the basic things that I think that's kind of the basics you want. It does wirelessly charge. It does have water resistance as well. IP67, I believe it is. All right, so let's dive into the meat and potatoes of this phone. It does run Android 11 on here, so it's the not the newest, not the oldest version of Android. When you swipe over to the left on the home screen, you get your feed right here, which is going to give you all your Google feed information. You get your home screen, and since this is from basically Verizon, you are getting quite a bit of Verizon stuff on here. You get all the Verizon apps that you want on here. If you want them or you don't want them, they just come pre-installed. You also are set up with these outdoor apps, so if you're a big outdoor enthusiast, you're going to get a bunch of apps from the barometer, the compass, the outdoor portal, all these other ones as well. Google apps, Verizon apps, like I mentioned. Apple Music comes pre-installed. Bingo Blitz. There's quite a bit of, I mean, for the most part, I'm so used to unlocked phones that don't have this kind of stuff. So you do get quite a bit of apps on here, like Office Suite. I didn't put this on here, but let's just see if I can uninstall it if I want to. I can disable it, but I can't uninstall it. So some of the apps probably could be uninstalled, some cannot, unfortunately. But other than that, it's a fairly clean interface of what you'd expect. If you're coming from like a Pixel phone, you're probably going to be very used to this design. There's not a lot of just overlay on there with Kyocera or anything. It's really kind of nuts and bolts, kind of just our vanilla Android type software. But there are some things on here. So for instance, like when you look at this phone, you do get this little teardrop design on there for the camera. You also get an extra button on here that allows you to customize, and we'll go into that in a moment. At the bottom, you get USB-C port. You have your volume buttons and your power button. You get your fingerprint sensor and your camera. And overall, just like in terms of durability, it's a plastic phone, but I'll be honest, I actually like plastic phones. They will, like I could drop this and it's not necessarily going to break. It's plastic. Glass will break. So some people might look down upon plastic. I actually don't. It feels not like the most rugged phone I've ever felt, but it's got some ruggedness to it due to that fact. Now, I mentioned that button is customizable on here. I've already customized it. If you go into settings and you go into programmable key, there we go, I finally got it. You can change it. So I have press and hold, I have it turned on to the flashlight, but you can make it do other things such as bring up your Google Assistant or open up your camera or open up a specific app, and you can do other things such as double press it and have it do something else. or you can have it answer and end calls. You can have it wake up your device. So I'll just show you real quick. If I press and hold it, it's going to turn on my flashlight. I love that. You never know when you need a flashlight in your phone. Instead of having to open up your phone, you can turn that on and off with your button right there. If I double press it, I forget what I set it to, but let's just say it will bring up my calculator. There you go. You never know when you're going to need your calculator, so it's pretty helpful in that regard. When you go into settings, just to run through some of the other things that are in here, you get your basic, what you'd expect with this phone. You get your display settings. You can turn on pocket mode if you want to make it a little bit more handy. Lift to wake, you can turn that on. You have, let's see, system updates. I did check for a new system update. I've had this phone for about a week, and I haven't noticed that I've gotten any system updates just yet. And I will admit, it does seemingly kind of need one, especially in the camera department, and I'll go through that in a moment. Overall, like just using the phone in a general sense of, is it snappy with the software and all the things? It has a Snapdragon 480 and 4 gigs of RAM. I think the 4 gigs of RAM does hold it back a little bit. You can see a little bit of lag right there. It is kind of noticeably laggy when you use the phone. It doesn't bring you to a complete standstill, but if you're coming from, like a fairly new iPhone or a newer Android phone or more of a high-powered Android phone, this might kind of feel a little bit sluggish to you. It definitely, here's another time I'm bringing it up, definitely feels more sluggish than the Pixel 6, which is in the same price category as it. So that Snapdragon 480 processor and 4 gig of RAM definitely holds it back. Not a lot, but a little bit on there. And the other thing I noticed is just taking photos and just using this in general, it does heat up a little bit. It doesn't burn my hand, but it heats up pretty quick. We'll play a little Snake Rivals real quick just to show you how this will look on here. And just to show you a little bit, here's just Snake Rivals. This is running through the demo. You can see it does run games pretty much okay. This isn't like a super high intensive game, but it will run it, and it looks pretty good on this 6.1 inch display. Speaking of the display, playing games on here, the display for me, some people don't need this, but this display is pretty dark. I have to turn this. This is just me recording the video. I don't even have it turned up as much as I really want it. Realistically, when I'm having this, I like it at about 80 or 90%. The display is definitely pretty dark. I would definitely like for it to be darker. I'm sorry, brighter. But if you don't care about that, you'll be completely fine with it. The quality of the display is fine. I don't notice any issues. The colors look good. Looking at it, the edges or angles or whatever you want to call it look completely fine. The colors, everything looks fine with this. I don't really notice anything that bugs me about this display when I look at it. All right, so here is a video playing on here just so you can get an idea of how videos look. And you can pinch in to make it a little bit more cropped in. But this it plays videos in up to 1080p. They look completely fine. You can see that you get a better idea what that teardrop looks like on there. It's just, you know what it is? It's really just that it's just, for me, I'd want it to be brighter, but the quality of the display is absolutely, good. Let's also hear the volume on this where I'm just talking. We're going to jump into the specs first on this phone, but this phone is crazy. It's got tons of customizations. Very, very interesting. The sound is pretty tinny sounding. It's not very powerful. All right, so here's the specs real quick. It has a 4500. Let's put a song on real quick. It definitely sounds better with a little bit of music, but like just talking sounds a little bit tinny. Music, again, sounds okay. I wish it was louder. I wish it was a little bit more bassy. I wish it was just better overall sound. But again, it's passable. You're not gonna be like, oh my God, this is horrendous. It's not that bad. Next, let's talk about the camera. This obviously has dual lenses on the back. It has the front one as well, and you get a lot of modes on here. You got little video bites. This will do little short videos. You got video up to 1080p on the front and the back cameras. You got photo mode. You got high-res mode up to 48 megapixels. You got a portrait mode. You got beauty mode to get rid of those blemishes. And you can see, this is where you can see like The camera seems a little bit laggy. You know, I press on that and it does take a second for it to go over there. You go to more, and you have some other modes as well that you can go in there and play with, such as Pro Video, Time Lapse, Slow Motion, all that stuff. So I will show you some samples of photos and videos that I did with the front and the back cameras. Here's the wide angle, walking around, just holding it. I'm going to turn it around back on me so you can see what it looks like. Ooh, back to that killer sun, walking with it. How does it look? How does it sound overall? A little bit of wind, so we might be picking up some wind. Let me know what you think about this. 1080p, obviously. I think I said that's it. For 1080p with the front and the back cameras, that's the highest it goes. Alright guys, this is the front camera. I'm going to grab it. It's very easy to hold this phone, which is nice. You realize how uncomfortable phones are when you start holding them. There's a little backlight for you. I'm going to go back over here and turn around and face the sun so you're not so you can see what this looks like. Man, the sun is strong today. It's so hot in Southern California. I think today it's like 80 degrees. It's really, really warm. But this is what it looks like just walking around with the front camera. 1080p, no 4K on the front camera. So, there you go. And then here's the last camera. This is just the main camera. Ooh, is that having trouble focusing? For a second it did, huh? Interesting. I'm going to turn it around on me now. Woo! The sun doesn't get any less brutal, guys. I think it's almost noon or 1 p.m. right now when I'm doing this. What do you guys think? Do you think it looks good, bad, ugly? Let me know in the comments down below. Kyocera. Next, let's check out the fingerprint sensor. It works pretty darn well. I haven't really had any issues with it unlocking my phone. You can see it's been pretty accurate. Me just doing this in a real quick manner. So it's very helpful that it's on the back. I like it either on the back or on the side here, and they filled my wishes of having it there, and it works absolutely fine. So the DuraSport 5G by Kyocera. It's, like I said, it's $579. Maybe you can get it for less money if Verizon's having a deal or a promotion of some sort. That's going on. The screen, the quality of it is pretty good. The performance of it is, pretty good, especially, when you get into this price range. You're able to play games. You're able to, view websites and social media and all that stuff. The software is pretty bare bones Android, which is completely fine with me, especially if you're not looking for a lot of customization and control over the operating system, but there is some in here. I do like this button on the side. I wish more companies added these kind of, customizable buttons to make do with whatever you want. I've seen phones with multiple ones of these, and this is cool that it's even on here. So very nice to see that. I like the ability to pull this out and put in a SIM card or a micro SD card if I want, really easily without having to pop it out with something. It's really comfortable in your hand. That's can't be understated. So if you wanted a phone that was really comfortable in your hand, this is going to do the job. Everything else is just okay about this. Speakers are just okay. The camera app is pretty laggy. I feel like it's not the worst, but from 10 years ago, but it's kind of laggy, especially when it's compared with some of its other competition in this price range. And I think I'll be honest, this phone is it's tough for me to recommend this at all over something like a Pixel 6, just a plain old Pixel 6 that you can get for $599. Pixel 6 is going to get updates probably longer and quicker. It has better cameras. It is faster. It has a better processor. It has more RAM. It has more storage, if I remember correctly, at 128. So it's it doesn't have micro SD card, which this has, which is nice. But ultimately, if you're in this price range of phones, I'd probably tell you get a Pixel 6. This one, it has the IP resistance, it has the wireless charging, But ultimately, and the Pixel 6 has those things as well. It's just, it's tough for me to recommend this over that phone. But there you guys go. That is the Kyocera Dura Sport. If you want to pick it up, it's linked down below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys down the road. Peace.